Hi, I'm Allison Mance, and this is Brooklyn Cooking, a place where Brooklyn locals share their home cooking creations. Today we're making butternut squash risotto. So for this recipe, you're going to need about 3 cups of cubed butternut squash. I cut it to about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch cubed, and 1½ cups of arborio rice. Arborio rice is a short grain rice, and it's mainly used for risotto because it's full of starch, and the starch is what makes it really creamy once you blend it into the pot. We also have about 3/4 of a cup of Parmesan cheese. I'm a big cheese fan, so I like to save some for garnishing on the top once I'm finished. And to start it off, we've got 1 whole shallot chopped and about 2 cloves of garlic. We also have a few leaves of parsley for garnish. I didn't really measure it, it just depends on how much parsley you really like. And about 5 to 6 sage leaves, fresh sage leaves, chopped. So now that we've got all of our ingredients covered, let's get cooking. I've got about 5 cups of chicken broth simmering on the stove. You just want it to get warm. You don't want it to boil or start simmering too much or bubbling. So we're gonna turn our pan on to about between medium and medium high. You can add just butter or olive oil. I prefer to do a combination just because it's healthier. I used about 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So once the butter's melted, we're gonna add in our shallots and our garlic. And since it's cut up so small, you wanna keep the heat to about medium and then turn it up a little bit later because you don't want the shallots and the garlic to burn. I'm gonna add a nice healthy pinch of salt and pepper. So once those are sweated out, you're gonna add in your butternut squash and your sage. Butternut squash is a really firm vegetable, and when it's undercooked, it's really not so good. That's why it's best to roast it or to simmer it for a really long time so it gets nice and mushy. So you just want to give it about 2 to 3 minutes to toast the rice. You can actually smell it. Don't be afraid to just stick your head over the pot and smell it. It smells amazing. It has a nice nutty aroma, and you know when it's time to put the broth in. So the one thing about risotto is that you have to gradually stir it in order to get the creaminess out. That's the one difference between arborio rice and regular rice. So we're gonna start with maybe about a 1/2 cup to a cup at a time. So once the broth is soaked in, you're just gonna keep doing the same thing over and over again until the rice is fully cooked. This will be done in about 20 to 25 minutes. It's not a particularly lengthy process, it just depends on how much you're using. And you really want the broth to fully absorb before you add the next scoop. But you also want to serve it immediately, so if you're cooking other things, it's best to get those out of the way first and then work on this last. All right, so it's been about 20 minutes and this is perfect. It's nicely al dente. Al dente basically means that it's not mushy, but it's not crunchy either. It's got a nice bite to it, and it should have bite. It shouldn't be a bowl of mush. And as soon as this is all thickened up, we're just gonna turn off the heat, and we're going to stir in our delicious cheese. Make it nice and cheesy. Risotto gets really gummy and gooey when it's gone cold, when it's been sitting around for too long. But if you can't finish it that night, I really like to leave it overnight and then scoop it into balls and fry them. So that way you don't have to throw it out and waste food. A little parsley. We're ready to eat. It's cooked perfectly. The risotto is nice and al dente, the butternut squash is soft. I have no complaints. While I work on that, you can check out brooklyn-cooking.com for this recipe, other episodes, and more.